Hi, this is Jenna.
And this is Heather.
And this is Conspiracies Unlocked. And today we're going to be talking about the book 1984, Chapter 1, Part 6. And this part, starts off with Winston writing in his diary about, at this point we don't know if it's a memory or a dream, but we find out later that it is definitely a memory. And it is about him he's writing in his diary about going to a train station and there being a woman there. And there's no telescreens. She has makeup on, like very heavy makeup, bright red lipsticks. And then she says, $2? Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, dude, is she a prostitute? I'm like, what the fuck?
But the way that he describes her makeup, when I was reading it, I kept thinking of like a geisha. Like the really white, pale face and the red lips.
Bright red lips, he said.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Mulan.
I was just thinking of like a geisha because of the paleness.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he said that.
What's a geisha?
It's like a Japanese.
That's what I was thinking.
Courtesan. Is it
the makeup that they use for like Mulan?
What is the word? Kind of like a prostitute, actually. I don't know. Please, people, I know that's not the correct definition, but it is.
Hooker.
It's like, well, no, it's basically it's like, what's like an art, they had to know about current events and science and everything. They had to be able to entertain men and just talk to them and be beautiful, and it didn't always involve sex.
Oh, really?
But it was like a escort kind of.
Oh.
Yeah, and they would like actually start out pretty young, and they would go to like geisha schools.
Yeah, there's a movie. Mulan.
Yeah, and there's a movie called Memoirs of a Geisha.
Don't you remember in Mulan? They were like, they had to make her all nice and looked up with the white face and with it's all painted on.
Yeah.
For the matchmaker, so they could find a husband for.
And I mean, they maybe aren't prostitutes, but I remember Memoirs of a Geisha, and I'm pretty sure that it was an older movie that I watched with my mom, and I'm pretty sure they were basically like prostitutes.
Oh, yeah? No shit.
Yeah.
All right, well, okay. Well, anyways, back to the book. So he got so upset while he was writing this that he ended up stopping abruptly while writing. And then we find out that Winston has a wife.
Oh my gosh, Katharine,
or had a wife. Yeah, named Katharine.
I was so shocked when I saw that he had a wife.
Yeah, but he hasn't seen her in 9 or 10 years. So he assumes that she's still alive. So I was like, oh, maybe at first when he said that, I was like, shit, she got vaporized, right?
Oh, yeah, that's what
I thought right away. Like, oh, she got vaporized. But then we find out that they just haven't, they didn't work out. So, yeah. And they can't divorce each other because that's not allowed or something.
Yeah, it's not allowed by the party to get divorced, but if there's no kids involved, then they will allow a separation.
Yeah.
And they didn't have any children involved because she was weird, kind of, about sex and
stuff. So yeah, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
So then he goes back to the diary, and we can confirm that the lady was a prostitute, and he followed her to a basement with a bed, and he said this was the first time that he's had any, like, intercourse or sex in 2 years. And to be caught with a prostitute isn't life and death. They won't vaporize you, but they will put you in a forced labor camp.
Yeah, for 5 years, right?
Yeah, 5 years.
Yeah.
And then, I noticed that's just like now, where, because he had said that the poorest of the poor areas were swarmed with prostitutes.
Yeah.
And some would even sell their bodies for like a bottle of gin. And I'm like, dude, that's just like now where the really poor areas, that's where they are.
Yeah.
And they'll do it for like a hit of crack or whatever, heroin, or, for a fix.
Oh, yeah, they'll just do it for drugs.
And that's kind of how it is now.
And especially because how everything is so rationed. Like gin, if you have extra gin or whatever, cigarettes or anything, it's like a big deal because you only get so much a month.
Yeah, so that was like huge to be able to use that as a bartering tool. And surprisingly, the party was even inclined to encourage prostitution, even though it wasn't legal. But they were like, dude, it's human nature, you're gonna want to do it, because guess what, if you were to have sex with another party member, so the people that you fraternize with, or know, but you're not really allowed to fraternize, but that you work with or whatever,
that
one is punishable by death. And it's unforgivable.
Yeah, and then also because they said that if you're going to have sex like that with they would rather prostitute because it has to be somebody who's under you, like what is the word they used? Class, your lower class.
Yeah.
So if you are with a prostitute lower class, it's okay as long as like there's no joy in it and everything. It's just like the
erotic.
Act. It's just the act
erotic
of doing it.
And so if you wanted to get married to another party member, you are not allowed to have sex with that party member. And so you're married, so this is your wife. You're not allowed to have sex, but and they would have to approve the marriage. But if the couple was physically attracted to each other, they would be denied the marriage.
It's so bizarre to me.
Yeah, it is. And so so they started to do all this at such a young age.
Oh, yeah. So they would like
groom them,
brainwash them, and groom is a good word.
Yeah, and they did that for the junior sex league was to indoctor in complete celibacy.
Yeah, the
so
anti-sex league, yeah.
Yeah, people are supposed to not ever have sex, and they're like ever in their entire lives. Then they're trying to get rid of that human nature, so they're trying to be like, oh, sex is icky, sex is yucky, sex is and they're trying to do it at such a young age, that way you'll no longer need sex. Like Winston went 2 years without ever feeling the need to have sex, so it is working to an extent. And how they have kids, they want to do all artificial insemination.
Yeah, so it's very clinical. I mean, everything is.
Yeah, and it's just like the IVF now. Like they want to take away sex. They want to control everything that they can. So Katharine, he said, was dumb as shit pretty much. She had no thoughts of her own and only repeated what the party told her. He nicknamed her the human soundtrack.
Yeah, because she would just like repeat everything.
Yeah, that they already said. And how often do you hear that now from people that are only listening to CNN News or only listening to Fox News? And we're like, you guys are being parrots. You guys are just copying word for word, verbatim, whatever the little TV tells you. It's so weird. Oh, and then what else was weird that I just like thought about was when he was at the train station. And that's why I thought maybe it was like a dream or something, because there was no telescreens. So does that mean that the poor places don't have telescreens? Why would the train station not have a telescreen?
I would think that they would have hidden cameras or something.
But yeah, there's no Big Brother there.
I mean, it didn't mention it, but
yeah, it's weird.
It is strange.
So Winston goes on to say that Katharine was fine with being celibate. Oh no, she wasn't. She didn't like sex. She was like a dead fish. Yeah, she was like, she would just be stiff.
She was just very submissive, and she would just, like, once a week just do it as, like, a duty or to make a baby.
Because she wanted a baby. And Winston was fine with no celibacy. He would rather not fuck a fucking corpse, pretty much, because she would just lay there.
Yeah.
So he's like, screw this. Like, she would even close her eyes like she's asleep or whatever. Like, just... So she, like, totally wasn't into it, but she wanted a baby. So they were only together for 15 months.
Yeah, I don't even see how it lasted 15 months like that. Can you imagine?
Yeah, but they broke up because she couldn't get pregnant. And so she gave up. It wasn't even Winston. So then we go back into his diary, and he's writing again, and he's saying about how the prostitute went down to a basement, and there was a dim-lighted basement. There was a bed, threw herself onto the bed.
Yes.
And pulled up her skirt. Mm-hmm. And then Winston goes and turns on the light. Dumb little man.
Why would you? It's like you're at the club and everybody's dancing and drinking and you're like having fun, and then you stay until like last call, and then the lights get turned on,
and you're like, who are these people?
That's who I've been dancing with all night.
God,
like I can see your face. I'm like, okay, bye, nice to meet you.
Well, this was a fun night. Gotta go now.
Yeah, see you
later.
Do you know
times that happened to us?
So many times, because you're just in the moment and you're dancing and you're having fun and you're drinking, and then it's all dim, and then you're like, okay, I need to get out of here fast.
Yeah, like, oh my God, gotta go.
Run.
Run. Look at the time. shit, it's been last call. We gotta go. I'm working for in 2 hours.
Exactly.
So he turns on the light and he sees that her makeup is caked on so much that it could like crack at any moment.
Yeah, like plaster.
Yeah, and he found out that she was actually like in her 50s.
And she was all horridly, disgustingly ugly.
Yeah, she was so gross. And then, but he was so relieved that he finally got it written down. But then it says the therapy didn't work anyways. So I'm wondering if he was doing journaling as therapy. You know how they have us do that now?
Yeah.
And that's why he even bought the diary in the first place. Maybe this is supposed to be a therapeutic thing, a place to express his emotions and get everything out, because he has no outlet otherwise. He has nobody to talk to.
Yeah.
How else are you supposed to do it?
And you can't formulate relationships with anyone, even friendships, to even just have that friend to sit and have a little powwow and be like, oh my gosh, this is what's going on, and just have your little venting sessions together. You can't do any of that. So you're just alone with your thoughts and the telescreen.
And barely even your thoughts.
Yeah, barely your thoughts. Because the
if
thought
you
police.
flinch or anything, yeah.
So it's like the only thing that he has is the journal on down low, because obviously no one can know about it, and his little experience with this prostitute here who ended up being horrid.
And whenever he was writing, so he would be writing and then he would have to stop because he was getting angry, and he would think about Katharine or think about something else. So he was almost like having to stop before he got his emotions too wound up and the thought police came. That's how I took it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And that's where we leave him. Pretty much this whole chapter was just about telling us how sex worked, I guess, or didn't work in 1984, and how he was just writing in this one journal entry. He just wanted to get the story out. And we got to learn about Katharine. It was a pretty short, sweet, simple chapter. I mean,
I think, it was very short, I think, but the most revealing part is that he had a wife. And he's still married.
He
doesn't know where she is.
Assuming she's alive.
It doesn't seem like he really wants any contact with her.
I wonder if she's in the party or out of the party. I wonder if she's back at like normal. I'm sure it'll all come out later, but I wonder if she's in like the normal world, like the lower class world, not part of the party.
I feel like she'll come
not in the Victory apartments, but in the Victory slums.
Oh my gosh! What if there's like a twist and like she's gonna be a prostitute or something? I don't know.
I don't think so,
actually. I think probably most likely she's a higher up part of the party, because the way that she was so dedicated to the party, and so
she would just be like a sheep, so she would just go along with it. She's not even like the other guy.
She's probably already advanced.
Well, like Syme. Remember how he was so dedicated to the party, but he was such a fucking loudmouth from last part. Yeah. That I think that she's not even like that. Like she's not even loudmouth about it. She's just she's like a perfect little robot puppet, just
very submissive and
just goes along with it. And whatever the party feeds her, she's like, oh yay, go big brother, this is great. When it's not at all.
No, not at all.
Okay, well, I think that's all. Do you have anything else to say about this chapter? I mean, it was so short.
No, it was very short, and again, it was just basically focusing on the fact that he had a wife and his experience with this prostitute, and like you said, the way that they view sex in this strange 1984 world.
Yeah. Okay, well, that was it for this time's little part. It's so short that I feel like we're missing something, but
we're really not.
We're not, though.
No,
we're not. We're just so confused. Like we're in the soundproof little fort that we built, and I don't know what else to say.
So much effort.
I know, for 10 minutes. Okay, so we'll see you next week, and until then, please tell your friends. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to
like, share, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and wherever you listen to your podcasts,
because we are everywhere and all over the place. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.